What's up, Wizards Dev? SBMTG, we like it of magic, coming at you with kind of a surprise video tonight. At least it surprises me. I didn't know I was going to be doing this. I intended to stream, but for some reason it's either Streamlabs or Twitch is giving me a problem actually starting the stream. I have to figure that out. I think I'm going to retry streaming on Thursday night. If you're interested, check it out. Link in the description. Follow me on Twitch. But I still want to give some content to the dev heads. I want to make some content for what it's worth, and I want to have some fun doing it. And last time, I had a ton of fun reviewing like the top 10 commanders on EDHRec, and apparently a lot of you guys had fun with it too, in various ways. I got a lot of different comments on that one, whether you were slightly uncomfortable, I didn't know some of these cards, or like how they were good in Commander. I'm a standard player. I don't know every single card. I'm sorry. It's a lot of cards in Magic. Aside from that, some of you, the vast majority, you really were amused at how little I knew about like some of these commanders, and you like that I was trying to suss things out. And some of you got on me for like Edgar Markov. You're like, Dev, you don't even ever cast it. That's the joke, is you only need it to make vampires for you, you know, with its eminence ability. And like I said that, and I got around to that. I figured that out all on my own. But there were some things I didn't figure out on my own, like Mirren, whatever his name is, the Teamer Dragon. Apparently that's just a blink deck. Like, I should have known that, but we're going to try to remedy that. A few of you, more than a few of you really, had the suggestion to look at the top cards, the high synergy, stuff like that. Like, actually click on the commander and look at the cards that go in the deck. And I think I'm going to do that for a little bit tonight. I don't want the video to go like super long like the last one did. It was like 25 minutes. We'll probably go longer than that, to be honest. You know how I am. It's one way or the other. I wanted to have a little fun tonight, and I had a ton of fun doing this last time. So let's strap in and look at, I think it's like 21 through 13. So we looked at like 12 through 1 last time. And this time, I've lined things up a little better because I've actually clicked on all of the cards and opened them in a new tab here. So let's look first at Esika, God of the Tree. It says rank 18. That's not right. I don't know what EDHRec is on about, because if you go to literally the next page over, it'll tell you that she is ranked 21. So I do not know what that is about. I really don't, but let's look at Esika first. I am surprised to see this here, honestly. This is a relatively new commander, but that doesn't mean it's not going to see a lot of play. As a matter of fact, I assume that newer commanders probably see a good amount of play. Especially in EDHRec, right? They have decks written about them, and you need to be, hot. You need to be in the conversation to have decks actually made for you, so and put on the website. But as far as Esika goes, this makes some sense to me. In case you haven't read this in a while, it's 3 mana, 1 and 2 green for a 1/4 legendary god with vigilance. You can tap it to add a mana of any color, and you can also have other legendary creatures you control do that same thing, and they also have vigilance. So if you want to, you can cast this for Wooburg and get the Prismatic Bridge instead. This is a legendary enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker card. Put that card onto the battlefield, the rest on the bottom in a random order. So this is a silly card, and I imagine that you're probably not doing anything too fancy with this, right? You're just playing a bunch of legendary dudes. You are playing a bunch of legendary creatures. You're tapping them for mana, which means that you probably have some large spells what to ramp into, which probably means that you're playing some other ramp cards in your deck, right? If it's a 5-color commander, so it's entirely possible this is just like a good stuff deck or something like that, but that has a focus on creatures and possibly planeswalkers, because you get to play them for free with Prismatic Bridge, so you might as well have a couple in your deck. A few of you got on to me last time about that. Like, planeswalkers see play in Commander. It's like, I had always heard, and I've only played like a few games Commander in my life, but I've heard and experienced that you don't do that very often because, you have 3 different opponents that can attack into them and kill them, so they're less likely to see play. This is the conventional wisdom, but, I guess when Atraxa is the most played commander in the format, then you can play some Planeswalkers, I'm sure. But in any case, let's look at the high synergy stuff for Esika and see how off base we are. Now, for some reason, there is not a high synergy category for this particular commander, which is really weird. There usually is. But there is a top cards category, as there is for, I think, every single one. But I thought about a high synergy, too. But the top cards are like Farseek and Cultivate. They're in about half of the decks made with this card. So it's just ramp. Are we just ramping? Is that what we're doing? Swords to Plowshares. Iker Moon Gauntlet. That's Planeswalkers. I smell Planeswalkers. Are we actually doing it? I think we might be doing it. Nature's Lore is ramp. Smothering Tithe is good stuff. Rhystic Study is good stuff. Kodama's Reach is ramp. Oh, Vraska, that's our first actual Planeswalker. Okay, it's good, but it's all good Planeswalker. Commander, I would assume. Joda's here, but wouldn't you rather just play Joda? Like, if you're going to do the creature, legendary creature ramp thing, I feel like Joda would just be your commander. But I guess either way, you get a 5-color commander, and if you play Esika, she's cheaper. So there's that. But then Joda's just in the 99, you have to find him. But there's probably like a million ways to find Joda in the 99. Very likely. Creatures, stuff to ramp into. Itali, Vorinclex, Faber Elder ramps, Inga and Esika's, what's the word I'm looking for? Redundant effect. Thank you, brain. Vorinclex and Atraxa, cards to ramp into. Jeru and Hazaret. Well, it's a legendary creature deck, so that makes sense. Sisei, it's a legendary creature deck. That makes sense. Esika is a neat option as a 5-color commander because she gives you a little bit of a wrinkle as to how you build your deck. Just play a bunch of cool legendary creatures, but it doesn't have to be a ton of legendary creatures to get this like actually popping off. It doesn't have to be like straight Joda, like Esika's your commander and like, I don't know, 60 creatures in the deck. You don't have to do any of that, but I don't know. It's kind of neat that this is as high up as it is, number 21. Let's move on to Omnath, Locus of Creation. What a good Magic card. Was banned in Standard. It was that good. This is 4 mana, red, green, white, blue for a 4/4 legendary elemental. When it ETBs, draw a card. Has landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 4 life. If this is the first time this ability has resolved this turn. If it's the second time, add Omnath's mana cost. If it's the third time, Nath deals 4 damage to each opponent and each planeswalker that you don't control. Each is a really, really cool word on this, but is this just another like good stuff ramp commander, or is it a landfall commander? I'm not sure which one my money's on. I know landfall's like really popular in Commander. Like, people really like landfall. Oh my god, we're already 10 minutes in. Jeez, it's gonna go forever. Let's look at the high synergy stuff here, because I'm gonna just assume that this is those two things, like either 5-color good stuff or landfall, or like a little bit of both. All right, so this one does have a high synergy cards here. There's Lotus Cobra, Azusa, so there's going to be a lot of that, isn't there? Play an additional land on each of your turns. It's just every card that does that probably going to be in the deck. There's the old school Omnath, the green-red one, a landfall ability. Ramanap Excavator, yep. Yep, lands from your graveyard. Ancient Green Warden, lands from your graveyard. Top cards. Tatiova, Scoot Swarm. Okay, so we're doing landfall. 73% of decks. Wow, 3/4 of decks, and then more than 2/3 of decks for Scoot Swarm. Neat. Conduit of Worlds is in 2/3 of these decks. Avenger of Zendikar makes sense. We'll probably see the other one too, the green one, the green-red one that does something a lot like this. Cultivate. Philidar Retreat is a steal, dude. There's only 60 cents for your landfall deck. It's so good in your landfall deck. That's what a budget pickup that is. Mina and Zen, yeah. It's crazy Mina and Zen's only 60 cents with like how apparently popular landfall is. Is this going to be the most popular landfall commander? This Omnath here? Probably, right? But, who knows? Dryad makes sense. Swords, Plowshares. Creatures. Okay, so this makes sense that these are like in more than half of decks. I've never known how to pronounce this thing's name. Tyrant of Gyrostrait, and then Rampaging Balos. Because we're kind of a ramp deck, right? Like, we want the ability on Omnath to resolve twice, and that'll give us ramp. But we need to ramp to do that. So we're really prioritizing ramp. We need something to do with all that mana. So these like 6-mana dudes make a lot of sense, and they're really good for like actually closing a game. Drawing cards is ridiculous. This also lets us play an additional land. Icy Manipulator over here. And then Rampaging Bailout just fills the board, right? It's crazy. This is $20, and this is 28 cents, because Rampaging Bailout is a really good finish for like any landfall deck. It's very good. Omnath Locus of the Royal, not anywhere near as good, but like still should be in the deck, But it is in only 50% of the decks. But if you are going to play Omnath Locus of the Royal, you probably need to like prioritize elementals, and I don't know how much you want to do that. Really don't. Tireless Provisioner. What are you? 3-mana 3/2 landfall. Create a food or treasure. Ooh, landfall, create a treasure. That's really good. It's fantastic. Ooh, Risen Reef is here for those elemental decks. Okay. Oracle of Mildia, yep. Play additional land on each of your turns. Ashaya makes sense. Elish Norn is neat. Okay. Oh, there's the Gruul guy I was talking about, just like the other dude. Like, the Gruul one's going to be here. Here he is. Just making a ton of plants in this deck. In E-Witness, because why not, you know? Yeah, not surprised to see, like, any of this. Yeah, just really, really sweet Landfall Commander. You want to play Landfall in the Commander? It's $11 for the best Commander. That's not too bad at all. Just barely over 12,000 decks. That's how popular Landfall is in Commander. It's nuts. Up next, oh boy, Kaalia of the Vast, baby. This is a fun one, dude. This is 4 mana. I know what Kaalia does. I've known what all these do so far. That's surprising, right? It's not supposed to happen. Kaalia of the Vast is 4 mana, 1 red, white, black, Mardu colors for a 2/2 legendary human cleric with flying. Whenever it attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking that opponent. So this is just like metal creatures deck, right? That's all this is. Like, it's just like big, like if Slayer built a magic deck, like Slayer and one Mormon guy built a magic deck, because it's got to have angels in it too. And it's probably just going to be like 12 mana demons, right? Like, is there something else that you're doing with this? We'll find out. Let's look at the stuff. All right, so we're in high synergy cards, and like, no, this is exactly what you're doing. Called it. I mean, how hard is it to call? What else are you doing with this? This is Runescarred Demon, just a demonic tutor when it comes into play. Pretty gross when you're dropping it for free. Just Sella. Oh my god. Just double damage. It's so gross. And Avacyn, of course. Lisa. These aren't necessarily high synergy cards so much as they are just like giant creatures that fit the criteria. It's really odd. Oh, Aurelia. Oh, but you miss the trigger on Aurelia, don't you? Whenever it attacks for the first time each turn. But if you drop it from your hand tapped and attacking, you're actually missing the attack trigger. But like, so still good. Master of Cruelties is actually hilarious. It's so funny. It's a demon too. I didn't realize it was a demon. That's, oh my goodness. I guess Ishin is in here. That makes sense. Drop 2 things with Kaalia. Jeez. Blast Furnace Hellkite. Okay, let's creatures attacking your opponents have double strike. What a line of text for a card in a multiplayer game to have. It's so silly. That's very cool. Oh my god, Angel of Serenity. Oh, that's so gross. Attack with Kaalia, drop Angel of Serenity, like mini sweeper the opponent, swing 8. God. Oh, just quit. Quit the game. Quit it. That's so gross. Balefire Dragon. Yeah, so it really is. It is just like 30 mana stuff that is these creature types. Like, do we even have to look at more for Kaalia? It's just like the coolest possible deck, but you're not doing, it doesn't look as, at least, like you're doing a ton of tricks with this. You're just like, get 1 attack step with my commander and drop the fattest dude in Magic. Let's move on to Shorikai. I don't know what this is. I have like literally 0 clue what this is. This is 4 mana, 2 a white and a blue for an 8/8 legendary artifact creature. It's a vehicle. Oh, it's a legendary artifact vehicle. You can pay 1 and tap it, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Create a 1/1 colorless pilot creature token with this creature crews vehicles as though its power were 2 greater. It can be your commander, and it crews for 8. It's a lot, but I bet because there's enough of these cards at this point, right, that you're probably doing some stuff in this deck to where you don't have to actually crew this by tapping creatures. You can probably crew it by doing other stuff, but even when you do that, it's just like a vanilla 8/8. Like, it doesn't have any keywords. That's kind of lame. So it's probably all in this ability, right? Pay 1, tap, draw 2, discard a card is okay in and of itself. And then you get a 1/1 that can crew vehicles. You know. This is... Really? Really? This is ranked as highly as it is? What is its actual rank? Number 18. Rank 18. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing, and it says it's 15 on this page. I guess maybe we'll solve that mystery eventually. But am I missing something here? Okay, so card advantage is good. Discarding a card can be good. Maybe that's where it comes from. Is this just white black or white blue vehicles? Is it just a white blue vehicles deck? Is that what I'm missing? It's a vehicle that can be your commander. It makes things that crew vehicles. So, are we just doing vehicles? Let's find out. Okay, so once we get to high synergy cards, we see Kotori. I should have realized this card would be in the deck. It's blue and white. Vehicles you control have crew too, so let's go. Seems like a pretty good like on-curve combo to have. And it's kind of difficult to actually kill Kotori with some, not all removal spells, but some removal spells. Imri, we care about artifacts. Sai, we care about artifacts. Doppler Spy Network, we care about artifacts. Dance the Mance, we care about artifacts. Okay, so this is an artifact commander. Do we care about vehicles? Katsumasa the Animator, 4 mana 3/3 flyer. Until end of turn, non-card becomes an artifact. Until end of turn, target non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact and creature and gains flying. Okay, so it is just, we have a bunch of ways to crew the thing that aren't actually crewing it by tapping creatures, right? Padim, that makes sense. Artifacts control, have hexproof. Top card, Swords to Plowshares, Imposter Mech. You may have Imposter Mech enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature an opponent controls, except its vehicle with crew 3 and loses all other card types. That's really, I don't think I've ever seen this card. That's really neat. Ethereum Sculptor makes sense. So we're an artifact aggro deck that also plays vehicles. Are we like kind of budget too? 53 cents, 8 cents for this important dude, right? 77 cents for Imposter Mech. Unwinding Clock is in the deck. That's hilarious. Attack with our vehicles and then untap them so they can block. Peace Walker Colossus, 20 cents. Was always underappreciated in Standard. It's a good card. We can just crew. Yeah, we can just crew the commander with this. Parhelion 2 is in here because, of course, it is. Big vehicles, Sky Sovereign, yeah. Because we have all this stuff that crews vehicles. We might as well have some other sick vehicles in the deck. Generous Gift makes sense. Prodigy's Prototype makes sense. This is an underappreciated card in Standard right now. It's really not that bad. Boundary Inspector makes sense. Cyber Drive Awakener, 6 mana 4/4 flyer. Other artifact creatures you control have flying. When an ETBs until end of turn, each non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base PT 4/4. Okay. So yeah, we're just crewing our 8/8. Among other things for that matter. Here's some ramp in the form of mirrors. Solemn Simulacrum, ramp, card draw, always good. We're playing artifacts anyway. Might as well do it. It's really value driven. Another way to untap a bunch of creatures in Drum Bellower. SRAM should be in the deck. Hell yeah. Absolutely. SRAM should one. I don't know why it's only in 41% of decks. Should be in like all of them. Okay. Well, this is only $1.22. So this is a really budget looking deck, dude. I didn't really see too much in there that was like $1 million. I didn't see too much in there that was like $10. So this is really, really neat. That this is like, what do we surmise? Yeah, the number 18 commander in all of Commander. This is a really cool niche. I've never heard of this card in my life. This is really, really neat, dude. Human music. I like it. Just a Gundam.deck, Evangelion Mech.deck, I guess. Mech.deck should have been my first go-to there. But I like it. That's, I have to look into that. $1.25 to get that commander. Okay, back to stuff we all know here. Is Muldrotha the Gravetide. In case you haven't read this in a while, it's 6 mana, 3 in Sultai colors, black, green, blue. For a 6/6 legendary elemental avatar, during each of your turns, you may play a land and cast a permanent spell of each permanent type from your graveyard. It's just bonkers. How is this only $2.75? The low price on TCG Player? I mean, even if I'm paying $5 for Muldrotha, I'm happy. That's good. So, I mean, it's obvious what you're doing with this. You're just getting stuff in your graveyard, probably milkshaking it there, somehow bringing those boys to the yard. If you somehow never see my channel, I feel like I do that joke in like every single video. You got to bring your boys to the yard and then you can play them out of the yard. It's really not rocket science. What are people doing with Muldrotha nowadays, though? Same stuff they've been doing. Turns out you play seals, not the guy that sings Kiss by a Rose. These enchantments that you can pop to do classic magic spell effects like this that's a naturalized. Spore Frog is hilarious. It's very funny. Just replay Fog out of your graveyard every turn. Gravebreaker Lamia. It's been a while since I've read this card. Oh, yeah, you just tutor a card into your graveyard. That makes sense. Kai's Ghost Form. Kai's Ghost Form is great. Secrets of the Dead. Whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, draw a card. Do that. Plague Crafter from your yard every turn. Pernicious Deed from your yard. Oh my god, every turn. Canker Bloom, a newish card that obviously goes in this deck. Pretty obviously. Scourge Tribe Elder every turn. Animate Dead every turn. Let's go. E-Witness every turn. Why doesn't it exile itself when it dies? Haywire Might, another like relatively new card that's gonna do a lot of work in this deck, isn't it? God, $2.69 for this random uncommon from Brothers War. Whew. It does work. It does a lot of Muldrotha. Yeah, I'm sure you'll see a fair number of evoke creatures in the top creatures here. Monster, Gitrog Monster makes sense. Alter, mill yourself. That makes sense. But you don't have to. I'm sure there's plenty of combos that you can, play out of your yard, basically, to get it set up to where then you can just turn the altar on your opponents. Chupacabra, Reclamation Sage, just all these, spells on a body. Shriek Maw makes sense. Glenelinger Archmage is disgusting. Counter spells. That's so gross. So gross. Muldrotha, man. Love Sir Conrad. And he should be in here. That makes sense. I've never seen him in Muldrotha, but he should be. That, again, one of the only commander decks we've ever built for the channel. We built like 4 ever, and Sir Conrad's one of them. I love Sir Conrad. But yeah, Stitcher Supplier is down there, peeking its little head out. Makes perfect sense to be in here. So yeah, people aren't doing a whole lot of different stuff with Muldrotha nowadays. It just continues to be an incredible commander. It got a few new pickups, right? So shouldn't be surprised to see it here. I'm a little surprised it's not in the top 10. Everyone loves Muldrotha, dude. I can't believe it's only $3 to get this card. Now is the time. That's all I'm saying. What's next? Go-shintai of Life's Origin. So I know this is a 5-mana commander, but I don't know much beyond that. It costs 4, 3 and a green for a 3/4 legendary enchantment creature shrine. Pay Wooburg and tap. Return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Yay. Whenever Go-shintai of Life's Origin or another non-token shrine enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 colorless shrine creature or shrine enchantment creature token. Okay, so is this 5-color enchantments or is it actually shrines? Are you actually playing shrines commander and just using Enlightened Tutor and other stuff like that to get them into your hand? Or is it just, if I'm going to play 5-color enchantments, this is my commander? Let's find out. Shrines. First thing we see in high synergy cards is shrines, but that makes sense. They are the highest synergy cards. It doesn't mean they're in all the decks, but they are, right? 96% of decks, 96% of decks. Sanctum of All, man. Sanctum of All. Sanctum of Stone Fang, Sanctum of Calm Waters, 95%, 95%. So yeah, you play all the shrines. I don't think any of us are surprised by that. But there are a ton of shrines at this point. There are so many shrines you can actually build the commander deck. I'm sorry about your eyes, guys. I'm sorry for scrolling. Look away. 16 shrines to start the deck off. And I mean, how many slots do you even really have in the average EDH deck that are non-land, right? 65? Something like that. So 16 is, wow, actually, a quarter. Yeah, give or take, about a quarter of your slots are shrines. And that's probably not all the shrines we'll see. I'm not actually sure. But yeah, Sterling Grove makes sense. Sithis makes sense. I love Sithis as a commander. I'm surprised to not have seen her yet in our adventures together doing this series. Enchantress's Presence. Yeah, so we are just an enchantment stack that prioritizes shrines. I imagine this Wooburg tap to get an enchantment card from your graveyard is probably is the cheese here. But ultimately, the real attraction here is just 5-color enchantments commander. If I'm guessing. This is Rograkh with no partner. Select a partner using the partner drop down. How sad. How sad that this partner commander has no partner at the moment. Rograkh is 0 mana. For a 0/1 legendary kobold warrior with first strike, menace, and trample, and it also has partner. Really funny. Extremely funny. This is apparently ranked 1600 and something, which is very strange because if you go over here, it says that it's ranked 15 on the front page. So again, we have some sort of funny business going on with this card. I'm not even going to guess. I'm just assuming that this is going to partner with stuff that increases its power in some way, whether it's due to anthem effects or something like that. Yep, we were right. High synergy cards, Claws of Valakut and Granite Grip are in a bunch of decks here. You never see these in hardly anything. Granite Grip is actually sick. This is a sick card that doesn't get a whole lot of credit, but it actually is amazing. Double the power of target creature at the end of turn. Attach target equipment to target creature. Oh, we're doing equipment shenanigans. That makes sense too. Makes sense it would be an equipment decks. Dragon Mantle, Kobold's decks. We're doing Kobold stuff. Kobold's occur keep. What is Kedis? Emberclaw Familiar. 2 mana, 1/1. Whenever a commander you control deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent partner. Wow, so you get both your commanders on the board for 2 whole mana. That is how you get going. Gets the people going. Top cards, Thran Power Suit, gross. And just build it. It's a battleship. So we got a battleship commander in red. So we're probably going to be mostly focusing on equipments and creature enchantments with no real way to protect him. But I guess if he dies, just 2 mana to play and then 4 mana to play. And like, that's not that bad. Boundary Inspector, Ornithopter. Okay, so eggs or something? Just what? A deck that wants a bunch of really, really low-cost cards for some sort of Storm County thing, maybe? Phyrexian Walker, that's 0. Midnight is 0. Something's going on. Something's up. What do the 0 mana creatures do? These are 0 mana creatures? That's a 0 mana creature? What are we doing? Why? Why are we doing this? What am I missing? I know I'm missing something, dude. Okay, Burgi. I have now seen Burgi, but it's only in 15% of decks, which isn't that many. But of course, I think the numbers are screwed up on this guy, maybe because he has partner. But whenever you cast a spell, add red. That's sending my alarm bells off somehow. Then maybe you can return 0 mana dudes to your hand and then play them again and get infinite mana. Is that what this deck is doing? I bet that's what this deck is doing. I'm just not seeing it, man. I keep looking for something like, whenever you play an artifact, or artifact enters the battlefield, or a creature enters the battlefield, draw cards. And it's something that you can like keep the thing going. Maybe the partner that it's usually partnered with does that. But it seems like that 2 mana red guy down there is what he's partnered with the most often. The thing that like whenever your commander does combat damage to a player, he does combat damage to everyone instead. So I'm sure I'm missing a trick here, and I would love to know what it is in the comments section, because like, it's something, and it's driving me crazy. Why? I understand that kobolds are 0 mana creatures, and if you're just playing a kobolds deck, then like, right? But there's a bunch of other 0 mana creatures in the deck, and like, what are we doing? There's got to be something that we're actually doing there. But let's move on to Krenko. Everybody knows Krenko, baby. I wonder what it could be. I wonder if we're playing goblins instead. Krenko Mob Boss is 4 mana. This is 2 red for a 3/3 legendary Gobbo warrior. You can tap it to create X 1/1 red goblin creature tokens, where X is the number of goblins you control. So here's what you do in this deck. You play goblins. Krenko is only $4. That's kind of amazing, because Krenko is a really, really popular commander. But he's been reprinted, I guess, a few times. But high synergy cards. Goblins, everybody. Goblin Chieftain, Goblin War Chief. Would just not. Who's surprised by any of this? 94% of decks, 85% of decks. Goblin Matron, 88% of decks. Skirk Prospector, surprising 91% of decks. But I guess it shouldn't be that surprising, right? Hobgoblin Bandit Lord, 80%. Goblin Thrashmaster, 77%. Horde Master, 72%. Goblin King, 72%. I just feel like if you build goblins, Goblin King should be in your deck. Right? Maybe I'm just old school like that, and I know there's other better Anthem effects and stuff, but just to salute old school Goblin Tribal. Really, Goblin King should be in every single Goblin deck and Commander. It's nuts that it's not there. But what else? Pashalik Mons, that makes sense. This one's not even like, ooh, Impact Dreamers is cool though. This one's not even that like interesting to look at, right? Because it's just going to be like all the stuff you know is going to be here. Oh wow, you can get a Goblin Bombardment for $1.59. That's pretty good. I wonder how much the original Stronghold, was it in Stronghold? I can't remember now. I wonder how much that original one is, because obviously Bombardment is very good in this deck. So is Trimmers, though, for that matter. It's cool that it's in 80% of these decks. Siege Gang, Krenko, the 3-mana one. Makes sense. Conspicuous Scoop makes sense. Or Snoop makes sense. Skull Clamp, yeah, get in my deck. Not surprised by any of this like, whatsoever. It's just goblins. There needs to be a simple commander or two on this list. And to be honest, especially after all the tribal we saw in the first video where we did this, I'm surprised that there's not more tribal in this one. But, you know, goblins, man. Everybody loves goblins. Come on. It's goblins. But what is our final commander that we're looking at today? It's Corvold, fae-cursed king. I knew a whole bunch more of these today than I knew last time. Corvold is 5 mana, and I know this guy. Awesome Jund commander. Awesome Jund card in the last a couple of standards ago. He's 2, a black, a red, and a green for a 4/4 legendary dragon noble with flying. When he enters the battlefield or attacks, sacrifice another permanent. You have to do that. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Corvold and draw a card. So Jund Aristocrats is what we're doing, right? I imagine there's going to be a lot of treasure synergy in this deck specifically. Maybe food stuff too. Very likely food stuff. But for the most part, I imagine it's going to be like create creature tokens, cards to sacrifice those creature tokens, and then treasure tokens as well. So let's see how well we did there, because again, there's not much that can be done with Corvold. This card's $12. That's slightly too much, right? All right, high synergy cards. Yeah, Mayhem Devil. Pitiless Plunderer, the thing that's $11 and should not be $11. Just nuts. They need to reprint this card 5 or 6 more times. I think there's a version of it from the list, but it needs to be just reprinted into the ground whenever they can find a way to do it. More sacrifice stuff. Another Canker Bloom. We've seen it in like 3 decks now. At least 2. Viscera Seer's in here. You got to sacrifice creatures, right? Mahadi Emporium Master cares about treasure tokens. Yep. We're mostly going to sack treasure tokens to draw cards and make Corvold big. Top cards, Hierarch and Sakura Tribe Elder. One of these sacrifices, the other doesn't. Just a ramp dude, you know. E-Witness, Assassin's Trophy, Haro, a little bit of ramp. Interesting. Ashnod's Altar, because, you know, we're sacking stuff. Oh, Zayatora. Yeah, please play Zayatora. That's awesome. Would love to play Zayatora in this deck. If you would create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead create one of each. Holy crap. I have not seen this guy. It's my first time seeing Academy Manufactor. And, whew. That's pretty sexy right there, dude. That's incredible, actually. God, just all the stuff that cares about like, artifacts entering the battlefield. Bang, 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 man. You get 3. That's, God, come on. Jury. The other night when I was saying, I think the last time I did this video, or a video like it, I was saying like, oh, you know, the black-red guy that cares about treasures being sacrificed. Rakdos Legend, I can never remember his name. It's Jury. Jury is the thing I was thinking of. Man, solve that mystery, a video in like 3 days later. This is the thing that cares about treasures being sacked because it gets bigger and stuff. And then you can sack it and it just blows something up. It's good. So this, what's funny is like a lot of that felt like just the Corvold deck from Standard like 3 years or 2 years ago. But there's obviously some like interesting commander only stuff that you can play with Corvold, dude. I might have to try that too. $12 isn't a bad call. I think I actually have a Corvold laying around here somewhere. Anyway, that's probably a long video. Yeah, dude, it's almost an hour worth of recording time. That's nuts. That's nuts, dude. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope we can cut it down to less time than an hour. But anyway, do all the stuff on your way out, man. If you enjoyed it, I really appreciate that. Just the like button. Subscribe if you haven't done that yet or you're new. You know what I mean? Head over to the Patreon. It would help a lot if you supported the channel a little bit. It's just $1 a month, and you can vote on what content we do around here. This weekend, we're going to be doing Black, White, Death, and Taxes deck tech on the channel, and the patrons pick that. So if you want to help pick decks, just go on over to the Patreon, link in the description for that. And of course, check me out on Twitch. We're going to try to have a stream up on Thursday night. We'll see about it. But there's one more thing we have to attend to before we get out of here. It's couch card of the day. Let's see what we rip. I'm just going to go on top, see what this card is. Oh, it's a Talisman of Unity. It feels like a not great rip to be honest, but this is a fine little card, especially if we're going to talk commander. People still play stuff like this, right? From time to time. It's just 2 mana for an artifact that taps for a colorless, or you can tap it to add green or white, and it deals a damage to you. So are people still playing those? Are people still playing signets in commander, or have we moved on to other mana rocks? Let me know down there in the comment section. I have no idea. Anyway, that's all I got for this one. I got to wrap it up because it's going to be a 6-hour video. I didn't realize that. Said I didn't want it to be as long. Here we are, twice as long as the last video. Anyway, that's all I have for this one, guys. Love you very much. I am Deb from The Place. Thanks for watching, Wizards. Spread love and be kind.